Hello.
Hello.
Hey. How's it going?
It's going well. I've realized that at the beginning of every episode, you are like so friendly that I feel like a guest. It's like every time you're like, "How are you?" and I'm like, "Oh, well, Andre, thank you for having me today."
I do it on purpose. I do it on purpose. Not to make you feel at home, but to the opposite. I don't want you to get too comfortable because I could kick you out at any moment. So you just remember you're a guest on this show. So how are you doing? Would you like something to drink? Um,
God, that was
yeah,
probably
take
the
a seat. Take a
spookiest part
seat.
of the episode.
Yeah, I know. I have such a good Karen voice, but I will not inflict it upon you all. So anyway, hi all, how y'all doing? This is Scary Talk 80. Shit, 79?
I think 80.
Wait, it's 80. Wow, so special. We were like fucking around being like, oh, it's gonna be special whatever we do on 80. And here we are, not even remembering that it's episode 80. It is episode 80. I checked. Welcome all. Today we got some spooks for you, as per the usual. But first, how you doing, Sunny?
Doing well. I just took a road trip to visit some family and got a car, which is cool. That was given to me by my family. So I'm just excited about that. Have never had a car before, only got my license this year because I am, in fact, 16 years old. And
Correct. So finally,
yeah, no, exactly. It's like my 16th birthday hit, and my family was like, time to get her a Prius, you know? Just kidding. It's not a Prius. But, yeah, actually, my license plate number is. No, just kidding. But, yeah, no, so that's been exciting. How about you, Andre?
um, before I'm doing good. That your story reminded me of the fact that I failed my driving test 3 times. Um,
You did not.
I failed my driving test 3 times. Written
Three
test, I
times.
passed it. I passed it the first time because I'm very book smart. But I just
But you're
listen.
not
I am
street
not
smart, literally like
saying
street driving on the
literally
street
street
smart.
smart. Literally street smart. Now, I am not saying that the stereotype that gay men can't drive is true. I am not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, no, you're like
Um,
shaking your head and mouthing yes at the same time right now. Like,
I'm not saying that, however, just know that this is not an audio-visual podcast. It's audio only, so I'll let y'all run with your imaginations. Now, whilst I'm not saying that, I will say, however, that I personally did fail my driving test 3 times. And I also do happen to be gay. So, there's that.
wait, how did you fail three
Um,
times? What happened each time?
oh, and also, T, I know another gay person that also failed it 3 times. So, just saying, and I know you're listening. So,
Wait, that's so funny
I
because isn't
will.
the stereotype about gay women that they all like drive stick? So it's like, and it's just very opposite.
Wait, who? Excuse me. The stereotype about women is that they drive stick.
I don't know. I just felt like,
That is definitely not a
is it
thing.
not? I don't know. I feel like it would be,
No.
right? That seems like a very like.
No, isn't the sexist stereotype about women driving that they can't
I was
drive
saying
or that
gay
they
women,
suck?
not women in general.
Oh, gay women, lesbians. Yeah, probably. I mean, it's very like obvious, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
like,
it's like
oh, like
opposed
lesbians are
stereotypes.
like straight
Yeah.
men and like
Mm.
women are like gay. So that's yeah. I mean, it's kind of I don't know. It's not very creative. Step it up, loves. But I mean, maybe. I mean, shit. I mean, I did fail 3 times, so who knows? Maybe my lesbian counterparts are like fucking sticking it up and down, and they love stick. So not literally, but anyway, jokes aside. So yeah, 3 times. How? Because I got nervous. The instructor would be like, "Turn right," and I turn left, bitch. I turn left, and
Shut
that was
up.
the first time. The second
Wait, so you
time, it was this
failed
really
because you
nice
turned
lady.
the wrong way?
I'm pretty sure that was why I failed the first time. Not even kidding. The second time, it was because I didn't stop at the stop sign long enough. I think I did 2 seconds instead of three, and the person that I was in was like an asshole. And then the third time, it was this like nice lady. And oh my god, what was it? Oh, I think I couldn't merge into the freeway ride or something. Like I went in
Oh,
too slow. I was too scared because like freeway is scary, and
totally.
I failed. Wait, no, 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 no. Well, I couldn't have failed 3 times. Wait, no, yeah, no, I did. I didn't pass on the third time. I passed. Fuck. I think I passed on the fourth time. Yeah, so I did fail 3 times. Oh my god, what a loser.
You know what? If it makes you feel any better, um, I have a friend who's straight male, and he failed twice, and his third time, they were like, his I think it was the same testing person, and he was just like, "Yeah, I don't want to see you back here," and he passed him. So he never
Wow.
technically passed his driving test. Um,
Okay, so he's straight. Is he blind or in the closet?
I do not know how to explain. I'll say his name to you
God.
after the podcast, and you'll be like, "Oh, maybe that does make sense," because I think you know him.
The way that I am single-handedly regressing gay culture 50 years. Am I right? Everyone throw the rocks. Just start throwing. So, anyway, yeah, no, that's funny. That's interesting. Okay, yeah, I do want to know. I need to cheat. Um, so that reminded me of that. Thank you for that memory. Just upbringing. Um, how am I? I'm good. We're still in a pandemic, yo, hi. But I am good. I'm living for the tea about Jeffree Star breaking up with his most recent boyfriend that scammed him out of tens of thousands of dollars because he stole things from his vault,
No
because Jeffree Star has like a
way.
purse vault and like a shoe vault.
Yeah.
It's a fucking mess. He made a 24-minute
Whoa.
video about it. Like
Whoa. I'm still recovering from his last breakup. That's wild.
oh, Sunny. Okay, get ready to get ready to crumble. Not rumble, crumble. Apparently the reason he and Nathan broke up is because Jeffree Star cheated on Nathan. Yeah.
No.
You know who said this? Jeffree Star's most recent ex-boyfriend, and he said, I
Oh.
learned a lot being with Jeffree the short time that I was with him, which was like a couple months. You learn a lot via
Oh
conversations by
my
just sitting around people,
gosh.
and he learned that
That is
that is low.
tea.
That is
Whoa.
I kind of believe it. I also I mean I believe it. I believe it. I think I mean yeah. Just based off of
Yeah.
impressions, Jeffree Star seems kind of I don't know. He seems kind of shitty. Like, I mean, let's get real. I like his personality in a very chaotic way. Like sometimes I hate things about him. Sometimes I really love things about him. But
Mm.
like overall, I think kind of like underlying that is I don't know. Maybe a lot of insecurities about shit. Maybe some kind of weird sex obsession also. And so
Oh,
I
I could
kind of
see
see
that.
it.
I could
I
see
can
that.
totally see that. Like,
I was like a pretty big fan, but I uninstalled Snapchat, which is like the main place where I would like see his stories and stuff. And
uh huh.
also just haven't been watching him on YouTube for one reason or another. So I just haven't been updated really for 2020, which is I feel like when a lot of shit has gone down. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like whenever he went on Snapchat rants, what I found really funny about them is every time because he Snapchat rants would be such like long stories. Every time he'd say "Hi, how are ya?" in his
Yes,
his rant, which would
yes.
be like 3 or 4 times in one rant. It'd
Yes.
get more aggressive as it went on because he would get angrier. So the fourth time he'd say "Hi, how are ya?" in his rant, it'd be like "Hi, how are ya?" And it was just like he wanted to like grab you through your phone. Um, his stories were very entertaining though. But anyway, that's the tea on him and Nathan's
Whoa.
breakup, and I
Yeah.
totally buy it.
Wow. That blows my mind though, just because I always thought they were just like such an insane storybook type couple, where it was like,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Jeffree Star has this like really hot boyfriend whose sexuality seemed very like nebulous. I don't know. So it's just very I don't know. I was like,
I mean, I would just call it bi. I think people really got hung up on like, what do we call it? And I'm like, why is this so
yeah, it's
confusing?
so true.
Like
It's so true.
Jeffrey can look like a girl, but underneath the clothing, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, totally, totally.
A whole ass dude. So I mean,
Yeah, it's so true. I feel like
um,
sexuality is a lot. I mean, we know it's a
especially
spectrum, but
because
yeah, yeah.
no, true, but I think within the isn't there like what's it called, like the Kinsey scale? I think
Mhm.
the spectrum though, it's still labeled. It's just that I think people don't realize that labels aren't as static as they might think they are because the
Mm.
spectrum is a spectrum. But you can
Exactly.
still label the spectrum. Um,
Totally.
I mean, And actually, I'm glad that you can't, because otherwise I feel like things might get confusing when you're trying to just have any kind of concrete conversation about sexuality. But regardless, he's dating a woman now, and so that kind of cements my theory that he's just bi.
Totally, totally.
Um, so this is Sex Talk episode 3, just for your reference. We're doing good. So yeah, I feel sad for Nathan, and also it fucking sucks if this is true that like Jeffrey did this, and he probably like just fucking stepped on his own foot, because like it seemed to me he really had a really nice relationship going.
Totally, totally.
And
I watched a whole
I
video
mean,
of Jeffrey bringing Nathan in to get his armpits, like, not plugged, but like something changed so that they wouldn't sweat as much. I was really invested.
did
I
he
was
get
really
did he
invested.
get Botox in
I
them?
think he did. I forget if it was Botox. That probably was it. Whatever it does to like reduce sweat and stuff.
Yes,
Um,
that.
yes, yes. So that was Nathan's Botox. But yeah, I was so invested, and I thought that they were like really sweet and cute. So that's. I mean, I guess we'll find out and see if the rumor is true. But that would be really sad, especially considering the whole video that he made. Like, you're not gonna express any regret there. I don't know.
No, I mean, people think he's a snake, and I'm kind of starting to believe it more now. With he's had so much drama in the past like 18 months, it's insane. And I feel like when there's so much drama happening around you, and you're always like, "Oh, people are crazy," and there's so much drama happening around me. I'm like,
Mm,
no, you're probably the common denominator, not other people.
totally, totally.
You
Like the
know,
guy who claims he has
so
8 crazy ex-girlfriends. Like,
right, exactly. Yeah, exactly, precisely. And so I think maybe he's kind of double faced and maybe kind of a snake, and that's why in that breakup video he was more concerned with cleaning up his image and making himself seem like a victim than anything else, like expressing genuine remorse or guilt.
mm,
Same with this one, like the most recent one. Like it's weird. Like there's some reason why Jeffrey was like okay with this guy stealing his stuff, and apparently it's because the guy was kind of like blackmailing him with exposing something really dark about Jeffrey. It was really
oh,
weird. The
whoa.
guy showed on his Instagram a DM that Jeffrey had sent him, being like, "Welcome to Tea Talk episode 1," being like, hey, can you have back my stuff, please? Like, I understand you're upset or whatever, but can I please have back my stuff? And that is so unlike Jeffrey. Like, he's usually like, I'm throwing the lawsuit at you like immediately, like my attorneys are on it. And so it's so weird how passive he was in that message. And it sounds to me like he wanted to get his stuff back, but he didn't want to threaten this guy directly, because this guy probably has something hanging over Jeffrey. And whatever that is probably nasty, and so that kind of just adds to my
Whoa.
suspicion that Jeffrey's kind of a shitty person.
Blackmail in real life. I've
And
only seen that in TV shows.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the internet was living for it. People were like, yes, get him, eat the rich, like, because this guy, according to Jeffrey, had no job, no prospects, whatever. It's just that he didn't find out about that until like a couple months in. Jeffrey says that the guy lied to him. I don't buy that. I think he just saw like a hot straight dude that was willing to like sleep with him, and was like, oh, I don't care about anything about you, come into my house, let's fuck. But what happens, hi everyone, what happens when you do that sometimes is the consequences of that is like, who are you letting enter your home, enter your bed, enter your life, like,
Mm-hmm.
because it wasn't a hookup, they were clearly dating. And I don't know, it's just like,
Yeah. I don't know. I'm conflicted here because I feel like on the one hand, it's just clearly shitty to steal from someone you're dating. Like, I don't know. I don't know if
yeah.
that's acceptable in any circumstance, but I also do agree, like, eat the rich. And just, Jeffree Star would be able to buy 10 more of whatever the guy took from him. So it's like, I don't know. How
No, but I
terrible
mean,
is
but I
it?
actually, to be a devil's advocate, and the devil obviously being Jeffree Star, I no, I think it's about the principle. I mean, yeah, I mean, he has money to buy 10 Louis Vuitton houses, whatever, but it's about the principle, and he did say that in his video, and I agree with that.
Mm,
It's actually, so actually I agree. There's no justification for stealing. That's shitty. But like, I just that I'm confused on all this drama, and I'm gonna stop talking about it now. But basically, like, there's some reason why the guy is like, no, I didn't steal. It was, or Jeffrey knew. I don't know. He's trying to rebut these accusations. Jeffrey is lawyered up, so it's confusing,
ooh.
and we're also not gonna get any more information out now because it's all gonna be lawyers. So I guess this
Okay.
is as much as we got.
Okay. This is the
Um,
new. We'll have to keep updating on this, like Free Britney.
yeah. Whatever. whatever info we get, we'll be sure to pass it on to you, our listeners. But for now, that's the tea, and I'm really invested. I don't know why, but yeah.
Me too. Me too. Invested for Nathan. But yes.
Yes, poor Nathan. Anyway, so today we have Mexican urban legends. Also, it's October 11th as of right now, us recording this, and Halloween is 19 days away. Am I dumb? 20 days away? 20 days away, right? 31st, 30th? No, 19 days away.
Oh.
Right?
Uh.
Yeah. No, 31st. 31st. It is 20 days away. Hi.
Oh
Oh,
my
I
gosh.
did not pass third grade math. Okay, so yeah, I've really gotten into the mood. I don't know if I told you this, Sunny, but last weekend my boyfriend and I carved a pumpkin and we painted it black, and we gave it to my mom, and it was
Whoa.
cute. It was
You did
just
not
like
tell
fun little
me this
craft
specific
time.
craft. Yeah.
I'll send you the pic, the very staged pic of me holding the pumpkin. I look great. But it was just another little craft time episode. Welcome to Craft Talk episode 2, because I think I told you a couple weeks prior that I had made that like spooky Snoopy thing, cardboard
Yes.
cutout.
Yes.
Yeah, those. Um, for our listeners, I love crafts. Something you need to know about me. I don't make as many as I need to be doing to fulfill my craft desire, but I do love crafts. I watch so many 5-minute craft videos, I could vomit. They're great. So that's Sunny, are you okay?
I just love the way that you said that, and then you're like, I have said what I need to say. I've watched so many 5-minute craft videos I could vomit.
Yeah, so just know I love crafts. If you'll ever want to send me anything, you can, because we don't have a P.O. box and I respect our privacy. But just, send us good thoughts in DMs. Anyway, so urban legends. Also, we love our fans. Urban legend. Well, I'm on a roll tonight. I think it's the sleep deprivation. It's just kind of like making me go a little crazy.
Oh, totally.
Okay, wait. Can I talk about this for a sec? National Coming Out Day, I think, is today. I'm gay, so there's that. Thank you, National Coming Out Day, for giving me the bravery and the courage to come out. So, Sunny, anything you want to say?
I guess I'm bisexual, but on the Kinsey scale, I would probably lean more towards straight. So I'm conflicted.
Well, wait,
Thanks, National Coming Out Day.
What's that do you hear that, Sunny? Do you hear that? I think that's the sound of all of our straight male listeners sighing. Oh, yeah, I hear pretty clear. It's pretty loud, actually. It's yeah. Poor guys.
What does that mean?
They don't like it. I'm saying they don't like it.
Oh, fair.
Now, to be fair, I know a lot of straight guys out there, very woke. They understand that being bi doesn't mean being gay, mainly because it literally is a different thing, and it doesn't mean that. But, girl, you live in this country. You know peeps. You watch media. You consume. You know how people think. If you're bi, I think if you're a guy and you're bi, you're gay.
Yeah.
If you're a girl and you're bi,
You're straight.
if you're a girl and you're bi, you're straight.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
wild.
so it's the other way.
Totally.
Oh no, I was totally wrong. Okay, I'm totally wrong. No, never mind. No one side. Sides are taken back. They've been detracted.
No, they're
There was no
doubly
reaction
excited
either way.
because now they're like, maybe we could have a threesome at some point. You know?
Yes. Oh my god, I totally forgot. Yeah. Oh my god, why am I forgetting all my like early 2000 like movie watching? Like, totally, you're totally right. Oh my god, I'm wrong here. Yeah. Anyway, so now you're even more of an object of desire. Amazing. Fuck. And the funny thing is, if you're gay, but then you're like, actually, I'm bi, I feel like people are like, I don't care.
Yeah.
You're more desirable. I think that girls would be like, I don't know about that, sis.
No, totally.
Interesting.
Totally. Yeah, I avoided it for a long time
Anyway.
because I didn't want to be your local bi-curious girl.
Sunny really said Kelani vibes. So that was our mini-sode on that was Sex Talk 3 mini-sode. So hope you enjoyed that. That hits our 20-minute mark. Now onto Urban Legends.
Lovely.
Sunny,
Yeah?
would you like to get us started?
Yes, I would. So I'm going to start with one of my favorites that I found because it's very cool historically as well. and it's called La Malinche. Have you heard of La Malinche,
Mm.
Andre?
I have, yes, but I want to hear what you researched.
Okay. So La Malinche was originally a native woman, but native like middle Southern America. And she essentially, Spaniards came to the area that we now know as Mexico and said, woo, for colonization in the early 1500s. One of them was Cortez, who's very famous, and she was given to Cortez as one of 20 women who were native who kind of became translators and whatnot, but she specifically played a huge role because her and Cortez had two kids together and she did a lot. And that partially is why apparently the term malinchista refers to someone who's disloyal in Mexico because she had kind of taken the side of the colonists. But what happened is that Cortez left her for a Spaniard woman, and the legend is that the kind of urban legend part of it is that she was so angry about it that she killed both of their children and then regretted it so much that she became like kind of a lost malicious spirit.
So you're connecting La Malinche with La Llorona?
The thing is, she's like kind of a separate legend, and also they're like La Llorona has a lot of origin stories, and one of them is La Malinche. But
And no, and you're right. I have heard that connection be made. Like the by the way, y'all, you might be expecting us first. We're talking about Mexican urban legends because we find that topic interesting. I especially find it interesting. I am what if I like said it and then I beeped it for privacy reasons? I am of ambiguous origin. Um, no, I'm Mexican, and
I'm sorry, this is a big TikTok moment. I actually was supposed to be in the video.
oh
These
my
lyrics are
god.
or this is the second one. These lyrics are meaningful to me because I am Mexican.
No, it's funny. Like, I feel like we keep so many things about like us, like hosts. Even when Shannon was here, like we keep so many, pretty much everything about us private. I think if anything, because kind of adds to the mystery of who we are, and I feel like that's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But and so it's just like funny the hesitance that I get when it's just kind of funny. But that's really what happens when you're not showing your face. You know, you're just a voice, and you get to be anyone. And but no, hi, I am 56. I just have a really young voice. No, but I am Mexican for real. And so I found this topic really interesting, and Sunny was totally down. But warning, we're not talking La Llorona. I feel like some of you, especially the Mexican listeners that know about this, might be expecting that because that's a really big one. We're not talking about that because we actually want to do it justice and cover it really well on a future episode, alongside some other things. So we won't be focusing on that. As far as TikTok moments, Sonny, you might not get this one, so just step aside for a second. But fun fact, actually really, really sad fact, in parentheses, shakes my ass. I'm Mexican. So I'll send that one to you later.
Okay.
You have like a question mark hanging over your head. Anyway, so that's what we're doing today. But yes, the La Llorona that I believe in, just to wrap that up, is definitely not connected to La Malinche,
Yeah.
but I have heard that theory. Yes.
Totally. And so La Malinche is kind of her own vengeful spirit, or maybe the same depending on who you ask. But that's her story, and essentially, I think it looks to be based on my research overlapped with the idea of like betrayal and a lot of like Mexican history. So I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't mean just like to be disloyal, or to like engage in betrayal when people call someone malinchista. Well, I guess maybe it meant that. Well, what it means right now, if you go to Mexico and someone says malinchista, is the USA is the new Cortez, basically. So when someone says, "Oh, you're a malinchista," they mean you're a Mexican person that's sucking up too much to the gringos.
Oh, that's
And
so interesting. So that's like the new.
yeah,
That's like modern nuance.
the new colonizer.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it so much a colonizer as I'd call it the heaviest influencer that Mexican, especially northern Mexican culture has,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you live in a border town. But you know, similar concepts, and so that's what people refer to when they say Malinchista nowadays. They refer pretty much specifically to the U.S., not even just white people in general and like Europe,
Mm.
but pretty much just the U.S.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, it's really, it's kind of looked down upon because it's almost as if you're kind of either trading in your heritage and your pride for your culture for another one, or like selling yourself. It's I think that it's, I understand why the feeling is there, but I think sometimes it can become toxic because it's like, well, it's not like our neighboring country like has no good qualities, like nothing
Mm-hmm.
that we can admire, nothing that we can talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not true. And when people take any kind of positive um like criticism, that's not the right word though, but anything positive said about the U.S. from Mexican to another to be a malinchista attitude, I think that's silly.
Mm, totally,
Um,
totally. That's, I mean, that's interesting. That conflict comes up with a lot of things. Like, I don't know, people who are really who are like really leftist talking about. Well, this is also me, but like talking about like the jobs that people take or like selling. It's just interesting because there's this conflict between we live in a system, and if you want to be successful in it, you can, you know, major in econ and go to Wall Street or whatever. On the other hand, like, what are
yeah,
you betraying to do that? Um, so it's very
that's just the existential conflict of living in a capitalist system that still engages in leftist politics. By the way, welcome to Politics Talk number 4. I totally understand. And me, since I studied ambiguous, since I studied,
ambiguous.
since I studied undisclosed major. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so since I studied undisclosed major, I know what I'm talking about, and I totally understand what you're trying to say. Um, for sure. And to me, I don't know if it's just kind of, I appreciate security and nice things, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of a wuss. I'm just like, I don't know. If follow the money. Me, I'm more on that side. Like
Totally.
also if anything, just because you could like follow the money, then get money, and then actually help people more than if you have no money and all you can do is, well, I don't know, like smaller scale activism, which is still very important. But you know, like money talks, and when you have a lot of money, you have a lot of money to, I don't know, like support shit, donate. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I mean, you don't see that happen a lot with billionaires, but I like to think that I would be different. And so,
No,
yeah.
totally. I just read something the other day about basically some millionaire who had done something really ethical. It was someone in the UK. It was a soccer player, I think. And he basically he was from a country in Africa. I don't remember. I'm sorry. It was a specific country though, and he donated a lot of what he made to to like a village in the country that he had come from to like give everyone their money and like lived with like a cracked
Wow.
phone and stuff. Yeah, it was just very like, wow, look at you using your wealth properly, which when, you know, it's so rare. But it is a thing. It is, I guess, possible if not probable.
Well, listen.
Mm.
To to be fair, I mean, listen. Jeff Bezos probably eats a lot of very expensive food. So if he wasn't making $150,000 every time he breathes, would he starve? You gotta think about the poor guy, right? Like,
How would he ever live if he couldn't eat?
would he ever live?
Oh God. Yeah.
Anyway,
Ugh.
so what the fuck were we talking about?
We were talking about La Malinche.
La Malinche, yes, yes. So Gringo's bad, I guess. So there you go. But yeah, really interesting stuff.
Totally, totally.
Now, allow me to tell you about another urban legend. This one's called the Red Car. Have you heard about the Red Car?
Isn't that what assholes drive? Sorry.
Well, the women that drive this car aren't very nice, so I guess it's applicable. I actually hadn't heard about this legend until I researched it, yeah, I'm surprised I hadn't. So anyway, the Red Car is an urban legend. It's from Mexico. all of these are from Mexico, in case this wasn't clear. So, about a group of witches who travel the roads looking for men. It's also known as the carriage of the witches, translated from Spanish. But a lot of people just call it the red car. So, people say that in Mexico there is this scarlet red car that travels at night on the road between Mexico City and Cuernavaca, which is another major city close to there. Usually, it is only seen by men who wander the streets after dark. And again, people call it the carriage of the witches. That's what the locals call it, el carro de las brujas. So inside the car, there's usually two or three women, and sometimes there are as many as five, and they're all very pretty. This gives me like mermaid luring in sailors vibes, right? So they're usually very pretty, and when they see a man alone by the side of the road, they stop the car and they try to entice him to get inside. And they like use sensual language and gestures, and they promise that they will, I don't know, do all kinds of shit and fulfill his dreams. And if the guy accepts their offer and gets into the car, he's usually found sometime later lying lifeless by the side of the road, and his body's like bruised and battered and cut up and shit.
Whoa.
And now the interesting thing is that if you believe in the legend, the men that are found on the side of the road after having interacted with this car full of witches are usually found with some like strange arcane symbols just carved onto their chests. It's pretty obvious, going by that they've been subjected to some kind of dark occult ritual.
Yeah, which is that's
so
so interesting.
yeah, that is pretty interesting. I mean, I don't know if they kill the guy and then the ritual happens, or if they're sacrificing the guy to the devil, and I don't know how. Like, anyway, it's really interesting if this indeed is something that happens.
No, exactly.
Now,
Yes.
no, last detail is just that some people say that the scarlet lining of the red car is actually made from the blood of its victims.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Okay, so if the women are spirits, though, would they do an occult ritual?
Who said they're spirits? I think they could be just witches, just breathing, living witches.
That's kind of wild. What if there's like a little secret
Yeah.
society?
I mean, if anything, I think as I was thinking, like, oh, are they like shape-shifting women? Because like when you think of mermaids and like spooky tales
And like
of mermaids,
sirens
it's like,
and stuff,
oh,
totally same thing.
yeah, sorry, sirens. Yeah, they're beautiful until you accept their invitation, which is the moment that you fuck up. When you touch their hands, then you let them bring you into the water, and they become these hideous creatures.
Yeah.
Kind of same with this. When I was first reading this, I was like, oh, are they beautiful? And then do you get in the car and they turn like ugly with gnarled teeth and they eat you alive?
Yeah.
It doesn't say that anywhere. Not that you would be able to know that, since these men die. So how would they be able to tell their story? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
totally.
it seems more like just regular. I don't think they eat anyone. I think they just do these rituals. So maybe it is just living, breathing, 30-something like modern witches that do this. That's scary.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
super scary.
because it's just like normal people that just happen to be involved in like the occult, and they could kill you for a ritual.
Yeah.
Um,
Extra spooky type.
Watch out, everyone.
Tonight, y'all.
yeah.
Um,
Watch out, anyone traveling Cuernavaca, Mexico City. Please keep your eyes open.
Totally. Just the other day, I was thinking about how interesting it is how many stories and tropes there are of like the woman who seduces you and then like turns out to be evil. That's a really common trope.
Dude, do you think that like these stories were just made by like angry incels 200 years ago? It's like, do you think it's like the old version of like, oh, like women are tricksters because they wear makeup and they're actually fugly underneath it and they're trying to trick men?
No, exactly.
Like,
I really do feel like some of these stories are such an embodiment of like the fear men have of like women using their sexual power, essentially.
Wow. They really said, we're scared of the WAP. They really said that.
That's exactly what they said. You could not have phrased that any better. And that's Wappy Talk, episode 1.
Dude, Salem Witch Trials? Shannon, you need to come on here. Salem Witch Trials? WAP Fear. It was a WAP Fear episode. You know the Red Scare in the 50s? The WAP Scare in the 1600s. Hello?
The WAP Scare right now, with Ben Shapiro leading the way with a pitchfork.
Oh my god, dude. But, dude. I can't. I feel bad for Ben Shapiro's wife. I feel bad for Ben Shapiro's wife.
Totally.
My dude really like imagine having your husband come to you. Well, if you're a woman, having your husband come to you and be like dry pussies and stuff and wet pussies and because you don't want to make him feel bad that like he's never giving you WAP. You tell him like no, like vaginas are supposed to always be like sand dry, and then he goes and outs himself to the public. Like imagine, right? Like because I'm like hello, like I just can't. I poor woman. But also it was her choice to marry him, so fuck her. Anyway,
I feel like this is where we end
where
up
were
whenever we
we?
talk about anyone. We're like, they suck. We feel sorry, but also they just suck for making that choice, and that's.
Anyway, now that I got that off my chest, what do you have for us, Sunny?
I have the White Death. Mm,
Ooh.
yeah, I feel like that could be code talk for some kind of like, I don't know.
Oh, I just thought of something, but it is disgusting. So you better just keep talking.
Oh,
No. Well, I mean, I guess it's not so. I mean, it was put on a movie and it was placed in theaters, so I guess it can be that insane. No, I'm not. Just keep going, Sonny. Just fucking keep going.
okay.
I'll tell you later, though. I'll tell you later.
Ooh, okay. So the White Death is a vengeful spirit who hunts down anyone who knows of her existence. Now, this I thought was
Ooh.
interesting, yeah, because if anyone who knows about White Death is hunted down, then how does the legend spread? You know? Is it like they have to spread it to someone and then she takes them out? Is this like a ring kind of deal? Um,
I like that theory.
yeah, it is an interesting. But basically, she's a girl with long black hair and black eyes, or essentially pits instead of eyes, right? And she floats instead of walking everywhere. And she's known to chase down wild animals, which I thought was interesting. Like, does this mean someone has witnessed her, like, floating after a bunny? I don't know. um, but the spookiest part about White Death is that she waits until night comes, and she'll come to your door and she'll knock. And if she gives one knock, she wants your skin. 2, she wants your hair. 3 for bones. 4 for heart. 5 for your teeth. 6 for your eyes. And 7 for your soul, which she likes to swallow whole. I think that's great that rhymes.
Wow.
Yeah, that the knocking idea was really spooky. Like, even if she came to your door and she was like about to do stuff, would you want to know what the number of knocks means? Would that be helpful at that point?
No.
um,
God.
yeah. So I guess look out for late night knocks and try and count them to figure out which body part you're leaving without that night.
Okay. That's pretty good. Huh. Okay. Now, as far as the White Death, all I will say, people, is American Pie presents the Book of Love. That's all I will say. You can figure out what I mean by that, if you really care.
Oh.
Someone dies in that movie, and that's what the White Death made me think of. Now, I want to talk. Thank you for that story, Sunny. I want to talk about the house, the House of Tubes. What do you think the House of Tubes is, just by like hearing its
Oh
name?
my god. I think I think it's a playground. Like at McDonald's and there's some poop in one of the tubes and you like that's just what comes to mind when I think of the House of Tubes. Like a big structure made of
Dude,
tubes.
you got it. The most popular Mexican urban legend ever. It's a McDonald's filled with poop. Um, Yeah, so yeah, it's the play section of a McDonald's with like poop and like the pilot cockpit section. It's like all over the walls. That was my favorite part. So the House of Tubes, or La Casa de los Tubos, is an urban legend about a haunted house in Monterrey, Mexico. Fun fact: did you know there's 3 Monterreys in the world, at least that I know of? There's one in Spain, there's one in Mexico, and then there's the one in California.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know, big brain vibes. Okay, so in Monterrey, Mexico, there is a very famous legend about an abandoned building. That's the House of Tubes. And this strange, it's a house. It's a house. This strange structure was built in the 1970s, but it was never inhabited. And this is why. The House of Tubes has a very unique architecture. I might send you a picture later. So for those who want to see what it looks like, look it up. So from the outside, it looks like a set of gray concrete tubes standing on end. On the inside, the hallways are cylindrical in shape. On one side of the building, there's like a series of ramps that lead to the upper floors, and then you have the other side, and the levels are connected by like large stairs. So it's what it looks like. Try to picture that or just look it up. So, according to the legend, the house was built by a wealthy couple who had a daughter who was paralyzed. And the father, this is apparently like a fairly popular urban legend in Monterey. I asked someone, a friend who I have there, who lives there, and he confirmed, yeah, this is pretty popular there. Because I actually hadn't heard about it before. I think there's like really big Mexican urban legends like La Llorona that encompass the whole country. And then there's more local ones, like in any other place. Um, what do we have like in California that's like California only? Can you think of one?
Saying hella.
Yeah, that's. I mean, sorry, I meant Kentucky, where we live. Um, anyway, so yeah, built by this wealthy couple. They had a daughter who was paralyzed. The father wanted to create a special house that was custom made for his disabled daughter, and so the house was designed with ramps leading from one floor to another to allow her to move freely around the house in her wheelchair. And having this thing have so many ramps is kind of like what ends up making it look like it's a bunch of tubes. Like it was, it's a tall
Oh.
house with a lot of floors, but instead of stairs, it has a lot of ramps, and so you can see how that turns into like tube shaped in many parts.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah. Okay. I don't know if you can imagine what's gonna happen. So, yeah. So the man hoped that it would give his daughter the feeling that she wasn't disabled at all because she'd be able to move so freely around this house. So when construction began, the young girl seemed really excited about the new home that she'd be living in, and she asked her father one day to take her to see the building. On the day that the girl went to see the house, however, two of the architects who designed it suffered a terrible accident and were killed by falling concrete. The construction crew refused to continue working on it. Now, that is bad omen number one. That maybe your project needs some revision. But the dad said no. And the family just went ahead with their blueprint and they hired another group of builders to finish the house. And the girl wanted to still go back and check on them. She was testing out the ramps one day, going up and down from one floor to the next. Her parents took their eyes off of her for a moment, and her wheelchair suddenly started to slide backwards down the ramp, and she wasn't
Oh.
able to stop herself, and the wheelchair came hurtling down the ramp, going a little bit too fast, and the poor girl was yeeted out of the building through an open window and fell to her death.
Oh my gosh.
Um, and I'm quoting the site, yeeted. So her grieving that's fine. Her grieving parents couldn't bear the thought of living in the property that had caused their daughter's death. So all construction was immediately stopped. Now they stopped it. Man, bitches. And never to resume again.
They said you're all NPCs,
Years
but our daughter?
years later, the half-finished building was put on the market, but not a lot of buyers were interested. One wealthy family went to see the House of Tubes and brought their young son with them, but apparently, while they were serving the lower levels of the house, the boy went upstairs alone to explore, and a few minutes later, they heard the boy screaming. When they looked up, they saw him struggling with a little girl. So, if this is true, then that means that this ghost is manifesting in a physical way so strong that this ghost can like grab a human and fight it. And because ghosts manifest physically a lot of the times, that's how you can catch a ghost on picture, but on photo, but usually not so strong that they actually have force, like physical strength. I feel like you hear that of some ghosts sometimes, but usually it's not ghosts at all. Usually it's only
Yeah,
demons that
you
can
don't
do something
usually
like
think
that.
like, oh, I see a ghost, I have to worry about like a physical fight, right?
Yeah, yeah,
She
like
was
hosts are
ready to
gonna grab
tussle.
you.
I mean, maybe also because
Right.
she was disabled in life, like as a ghost, I could see being more like, ugh, you know, I want to hit some
Like
people.
she like what like she held this pent up energy from not using her legs, so when she was a ghost she had like Well, Sonny really said Professor Xavier when he's finally able to walk. He's like he can like run like the Flash or some shit. I think so. Anyway, so after this terrible wait, no, sorry, I'm skipping something. Wait, my memory. Okay, so the boy was fighting with the girl,
Mhm.
and apparently the parents kind of watch this in horror, and they see their boy being tossed out of the window, and the boy lands on the ground below with like a fucking sick thud, and dies, and the young girl is nowhere to be found,
Damn.
and that was pretty shocking to me because is this really a ghost then? Because holy fuck, right?
Yeah.
But after this tragedy, the authorities then fenced off the land, and it was no longer available to the public. And people now, the locals say that the house is cursed, and well, yeah, no shit, two dead children, and it is haunted by the ghosts of the two children who died there. I wonder if like the girl ghost just wanted like a boyfriend, you know, uh, or a companion, you know, like she was alone. Now
She
there's
said,
two
I
kids, you know,
like
she has a
you, so I'm
companion.
gonna fight you. And
Pretty much,
maybe
you
you'll
know,
die
little
so you
kids.
can join.
It is said that at night, the horrible sound of a young girl weeping can be heard, and the ghostly apparition of a young boy has been spotted playing in the entrance. Some people claim to have seen a young girl standing at the open window on one of the upper floors and waving at passersby.
Ooh.
So, and that's on T. So, that's the House of Tubes.
Well, thank you. That's some spooky stuff. Mm.
Now, I think that's the spookiest one that I have, like, as far as just pure paranormal shit, because again, you know, I was talking about, oh, like the witches could be, I guess, just living young women, I guess, but this straight up ghosts, so
Yeah, and
there you
straight
go.
up ghost killing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that actually reminded me of a specific one of my stories. If you're interested in another haunted house type deal.
I very much am, but first, okay, wait, aren't there like Japanese ghosts called like yurei that like are
Yes.
like water ghosts or something, or
Yeah, Yude, I think is just the general word for ghost, as far as I know. But I would be surprised if like water
okay.
ghosts were common since it's an island. But
I'm pretty sure there's a specific name for water ghosts because I feel like I
mm,
talked about this before, but I just can't remember. Um, and I remember like Japanese water ghosts can grab people into the water. Um,
ooh,
so maybe ghosts can have strength and
that gives
force.
them way more spook. That gives them max spook.
Yo, yeah. I'm trying to remember if like it was only water spirits that were able to do that because like dying in the water gives you some kind of like I don't know extra thing in the ghost realm, I guess. So you have strength.
Like, I've got water
Um,
clout, bitch.
I know, but I mean that wouldn't apply to the story I just told. So
Mm.
maybe all ghosts have force. Shit, now I'm scared.
No, seriously. It's, not to go back to the ring. Sorry, it's so iconic. But it's like the moment where the girl steps out of the. Also, spoiler. Moment where the girl steps out of the screen and becomes real. It's like so
Right.
terrifying and arresting because it's like, you shouldn't be able to reach me from there. Same thing, same feeling.
Correct.
Yeah. Ooh. Um,
Ugh.
well, with that in mind, I will cover the House of Laments, which is in Guanajuato, Mexico. Um,
Alrighty.
yeah, and it's actually now been made into a museum. So it's a whole, I think, tourist trap. But the story behind it and the paranormal activity there is very interesting. So the story begins with a death. So this man, Tadeo
Ooh.
Mejia, had been married to his wife, Constanza, and she died in an assault. Um, so this is in the 1880s that she dies, and then he becomes essentially obsessed with somehow contacting her. So what he does is he goes to a witch, and this witch teaches him um, these like very much violent, ghastly rituals to contact his dead wife Constanza that involve human sacrifice. So this is a real story that's like recorded. So he becomes a
Hmm.
serial killer. He brings people into his home and kills them in these rituals to attempt to contact Constanza, and eventually the remains were found in his basement and he was prosecuted, and brought in. But he killed himself, so there's no way to know actually how many people he specifically killed. And I am not seeing any specific names. I haven't seen in my research like any specific names of victims either. Um, but yeah, so now it's said that you can still hear the groans and shrieks of not Constanza, but Mejia's victims, which I thought was very interesting because we've got a couple different layers of death here. Um, and yeah, reports of lingering wails and the cries of Mejia's victims have lent the house its descriptive name, which is the House of Laments. And it's now been made into a museum with dioramas depicting Mejia surrounded by skulls and other black magic. Um, and there's also a lot of stuff that focuses on the relationship between Mejia and Constanza. I feel like there's no better fodder for like a house to become even more haunted than for someone to monetize and make it into a museum.
No shit.
um, but yeah, it is. There's a cute photo of there's some cute photos of some of the museum parts of it. I don't know about cute, definitely spooky and dark, but that's the story of the House of Laments, and also I guess the story of Tadeo Mejia. So
Well, honestly, even if he didn't die, we still probably wouldn't know how many he killed because like the Golden State Killer has like 13 known murders to his name, but people like accuse him of as many as 25. But because they see a pattern in the modus operandi, but they're not sure and they weren't pinned to him when he was actually like put on trial. So
totally,
like
totally, and some people
honestly,
overestimate. Like some serial killers are like, oh, I killed,
also
so many
yeah,
people, and then they're just trying to brag.
it's weird. Some serial killers get caught and they're like, I'm gonna deny some of my killings so like I don't get as much time. And some of them get caught and they're like, I'm gonna exaggerate because I want this like fame and this name to myself of like the greatest killer. Like there's two ways you
Totally,
can go
totally.
about this really. um, uh, Interesting. Also, if you guys didn't figure it out yet, we're definitely going quantity over quality on this one because, well, first, a lot of these aren't very long anyway, and second, we're really trying to give you all the crash course on Mexican culture as far as urban legends, and we kind of just want to. We just gonna give you as many as we can. Just see what pops your fancy.
Yeah,
So
totally.
what strikes your fancy. So thank you for that, Sunny. Um, Now, listen to it. It feels like because we're going back and forth with like these short stories, like we're competing. No, no, listen to this one. No, now listen to this one.
Oh,
No,
it's
listen to this
on
one. This one's
now,
spookier.
Andre. Maybe we should just
Yeah.
approach
Oh
each
no, you know
episode
it's
like a
on.
competition to find the better, you know?
No, I know. We should have done that. Well, I mean, look. Let's start now. Listen, I got the spookiest story, and I'm about to give it to you.
Okay.
Okay. This is called the severed hands. The severed
Whoa, I'm
hands.
sorry. It was really spooky when you said that because I was looking at my hands in a mirror across the room. Like, that was so spooky. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Okay.
Sunny really said my hands. Okay, so The Severed Hands is a story about this haunted alley in Mexico where people are afraid to go because it is said to be haunted by two pairs of skeletal hands. I'd never heard of anything like this before. So it is called El Callejón de las Manitas or the Alley of the Hands. So
Oh.
back in 1780, a Franciscan priest came to the city of San Luis Potosí in Mexico, which is a pretty big city. He found work as a Latin teacher in one of the best schools at the time and rented a house in one of the most desolate parts of the city at the time called Alfalfa. So, okay. To help him out with his duties, he hired two teenage boys who lived in the area. Apparently, from what I read, one day the priest goes on a journey to visit several villages in like the surrounding area, and he brings the boys with him, right? And they start collecting donations for the church. Okay, all good. But then they come home, and I guess the priest gave the boys orders to go take care of the horses, like unsaddle them, and put them into their stalls with hay and water and whatever. So the two boys go do that work, and then when they're finished, they're hungry, so they go home for dinner. But meanwhile, the priest is very tired, and after saying his prayers, he goes to bed early, which, okay, that's all great. But then when it was night, the boys returned to the priest's house, and when they went inside, they found the priest laying on the floor in like a pool of blood. He'd been murdered.
Mm.
And the boys freak out and they flee in terror and like they run through the streets and like they scream for help. And people gather at the house, and someone had like the presence of mind to alert the soldiers and doctors, like the nearby hospital, and they confirmed that what the boys had said was true, that the priest was murdered. Okay, but what happens is that the authorities of the city immediately look at the boys because they were the people who last saw the priest.
Oh.
And so while investigating this, like they look through every corner of the city and surrounding towns for clues and suspects and shit. And they arrest people, but then they're eventually released. Um, and because everyone else was being released, but the department was still suspicious of the two boys. They arrest them and they place them in separate rooms in this hospital, and they interrogate them. And then, under like this intense pressure, the boys start blaming each other. Which to me, that is like an immediate red flag that like they didn't do this because
Yeah.
like I I, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I guess it's possible that that's how you would go if you did do it, like if they both blame each other.
Yeah, that
I
is a good
think I
point.
think they
If
would
they
both.
did it, I think it would make sense for them to blame each other. Mm.
Yeah, or maybe neither did it. Listen, I watch so much like true crime shit on Netflix. Like the way sometimes people are interrogated is so nefarious. Like they'll basically
Oh,
like
totally.
ward
Yeah,
torture
yeah,
you for
yeah.
12 hours at a time,
Be
and at
like,
that
oh, you
point
need to
you're like, oh, you
pee?
almost,
Well, you can just sit on
yeah,
that.
you
Yeah.
almost say anything to get out of there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, right, like, and the thing is like, it's like, okay, yeah, you'll say, people will say like, oh, you'll say anything, but why would the thing that you say be like, yeah, my friend did it? Like, that's so outlandish to say, even if you're under pressure.
Mm.
One, you don't understand the amount of pressure, and two, the thing is that not only is it just the pressure, but sometimes the interrogators will like plant these seeds of ideas in your mind of like, oh, are you sure it wasn't your friend? Did you see him there? Like,
Mm.
did you see him when you went home? Like, maybe he could have killed him. And so maybe the boy would be like, well, I guess maybe it was him. Wait, are you saying it's him? And so you know what I
Mhm,
mean?
mhm.
Like they try to catch you, and these things that they planted in your head to begin with. And I think that's how something like this eventually gets like lost in translation, and a story like this says like, oh, they blamed each other,
Mhm.
but really you don't know what happened in that interrogation.
Mhm.
So I don't think the boys did it, but regardless, the story goes that they were interrogated, they blamed each other, and they were tried and sentenced. And when they were put in trial and found guilty, the judge sentenced them to be executed. They were hung by the neck until they were
Oh,
dead, and then their
dang.
hands were cut off. The severed hands of the two teenage boys were hung on the wall in the gloomy alley
Whoa.
outside the priest's house as a warning to others. Fuck.
Whoa. Honestly, what
Ever
you have
since
to get out of the
then,
story, snitches get stitches. Sorry, but yeah.
yeah, pretty much. Um, Pretty much. So they put the hands outside the priest's house as a warning, and ever since then, this like alleyway has been known as the Alley of the Hands, and people were afraid to pass through it for the longest time. Of course, now it's some kind of like tourist destination, as most terrible things from the past are. Like, oh, you mean to tell me that 10 witches were hung on that like news? That's awesome. Let me take a selfie with it, right? Like people are like modern times is just it's different times. It's kind of crazy what we turn into museums and memorabilia.
Mhm,
You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like yeah, like 100 peasants were decapitated with this guillotine. Oh my god, let me take a picture. So like put your head under it, like you're about to get your head cut off. Yeah. So I just feel it's so morbid. But anyway,
No, totally.
um, I
Wow,
think
the
that if someone has been dead for more than 100 years, they stop being like a person to us, and they're just like a thing,
yeah, yeah,
right?
like a
Like we don't
story or a
actually empathize
concept.
with like
Yeah.
yeah, like their family. I think maybe it makes sense because their immediate family is probably also dead, that we don't empathize with their death so much
Mhm.
because like it's not like they have current relatives suffering because of it. But you know they were still human at one point, and yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Respect that. Um,
Dang though, the hanging.
oh
Like,
my
can you
god.
imagine? That also just blows my mind because there was a time where like there were casual town hangings, or like you would just see two young boys' hands like hung up in an alleyway. That's
Mm-hmm.
just
People were desensitized to death back
yeah,
then because it was all around
so
them. So
different.
like
We live in such a much more sanitized world now. Just Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good that we sanitize ourselves of public hangings and public,
Yeah.
like head
Yeah.
cuttings. However, I watched this YouTube channel. It's called Ask a Mortician, and
Mm.
it's ran by this mortician lady, and she's awesome, and she has books too. But anyway, um, I actually read one of them. Really interesting. She is a mortician, and she's very like death positive. That's what
Mm.
she calls her
Oh, I
community,
love
and
that.
she's all about. Yeah, she's all about. Her name is Caitlin Doty. Now that I remember, she's all about kind of bringing like death as a natural thing, the concept of death as a natural thing, back into modern Western
Totally,
society because
totally, totally. It's so taboo, which is
we send.
weird.
Yeah, because we're all gonna die, ho.
Yeah, totally, totally.
So it's like people don't make plans for their funerals, plans for how they want their body handled after they die. Like nothing. They like wills are sometimes so like poorly written by a lot of people in like Western like modern first world countries. It's insane. People aren't like
Yeah.
people aren't close to the concept of their own death enough, and so there's no preparations, and then families have to suffer, and it's like a thing, and like families have to fight over what were your wishes and what weren't, and spend a lot of money on like a stupid
Oh
casket that
yeah,
costs like
no.
five
I'm
thousand
leaving with a
dollars when
full
you could
video
just.
for my funeral, and I'm like gonna play some dance
Oh
music. I'll
yeah,
be like, "Do y'all think it's poppin'? Well, if not, it wasn't your choice. You have your own
yeah,
party." Yeah, no, no,
yeah.
no.
So this mortician, she's very much like a no, like cremate or like even more eco-friendly ways of like like death like processing are better, like turn yourself into a fucking tree, or like there's water cremation. That's another thing you can do,
That's pretty
which
cool.
is a misnomer, but you can liquefy your remains basically, and that's also a thing you can do. And here you go, grandma, a shake of your dead relative. So I
So
mean,
cool.
not really, but like, I mean, the point is that I don't know. Like a big takeaway that I've gotten from her is welcome to funeral talk, I guess.
Mm.
Is that like caskets and coffins are like super expensive and super useless because we only use them because we're kind of also very heavy embalming is also kind of expensive and kind of counterintuitive because we're um or not counterintuitive, but just pointless because we're so obsessed with the concept of preserving everything, and so
Mm.
we embalm these bodies to death, and then we put them in a coffin in the hopes that they will last longer. Which, by the one, who cares how long they
Yeah,
last? It's not like
right?
you're gonna visit it and like see
No,
it,
exactly.
and two, like it's dead. Like, why do you need to preserve it any longer?
No, totally, totally. I definitely am an organ
Like,
donor on my license or whatever. Um,
yeah, like,
when you're dead, you're
like
dead,
what, like if
and your body just be a bunch of parts.
from the earth, once we came to the earth we shall return.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
just honestly, sky burials are not legal in the US, but they're legal in other countries, especially a number of third world countries like like Thailand and the Philippines, I think.
Whoa, what are sky
You a
burials?
sky
Mm.
a sky ooh, a sky burial is like the family will like do their like funeral and like mourn their dead and lay them on like a part like a place with a lot of nature, like in the middle of a forest, and
Mm.
like put flowers around them and shit, and like decorate their dead with like all natural stuff, and that's it. Like they mourn them, time to go home, and then animals will eat the dead. Sorry, no, that's a natural burial. A sky burial is the same thing. You decorate the dead, and then you roll it down a hill, and you let the vultures eat it.
Whoa, I think that's kind of cool.
You go to a like a it's only in some countries that like have like a very heavy vulture population.
Mm.
You go to like specific places within those countries that like there's a lot of vultures, and then you do it there, and it's called a sky burial.
Whoa. Yeah, I feel like now I can't do it because it would be like, I'm not going to culturally appropriate in my death. um,
No, but you can turn yourself into a tree. Like hipster culture, if there's something good that came out of it in the US is like there's a number of like funerary services that will turn you into a fucking
that's pretty
tree.
cool.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So,
Dang.
yeah, I really don't think I want myself like embalmed to shit, like drain my blood
Oh
all
yeah,
of it
no,
out,
and
like embalmed to shit, and then
corpses
put
look
makeup on
corpses look
me,
nasty, dude. So
dude.
TMI, that my mom passed and I got to see, and That shit was gross. I
Was it open casket?
No, it was just that they have you come in to see to be like, okay, so this is,
Oh,
so you like,
damn.
you get that like confirmation.
Right.
But it actually spooked me a lot because her corpse looked like it was out of a Tim Burton movie. I don't know how he
Mm-hmm.
got the feeling so perfect, but it was to the point where a real corpse reminded me of a Tim Burton movie instead of the other way around. You know
Wow.
what I mean? It was so funny. But
Right.
no, because it was it was just really spooky looking. Honestly, she had like, scary talk my dead mom, but she had no,
Oh my
she
god.
had
No,
like
but I
she had
believe
like
you.
really deep black pits where her eyes were, that were just like so
Mm-hmm.
bruised. They were totally black and like huge, just like half of her face. For some different reasons,
Something.
but basically it was so spooky. I couldn't take my eyes off of her. I didn't want to touch her at all, and I kept feeling like
Mm-hmm.
her eyes were gonna open. Like I just got the weirdest. I don't know. It just spooked me so much. But of course, I like stayed there and like, saw it, and then and for a while and then left.
I was so, and I just ran away. I was like, I don't know who that is. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like that's not my mom. um, but yeah, no, I don't know what it was. Yeah, just. But anyways, all that to
Uh,
say, I'm not prepared to see corpses. But yeah.
I think that people. This is something that Mortician talks about too in her channel. People underestimate how fast corpses change color.
Oh yeah, yeah, and get
Um,
ugly and weird, and like your mouth sinks in because you don't have anything
right.
there. Like, ugh.
Like the muscle relaxation that takes place and the change of color can make a corpse look very different than the living human it was not too long ago.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty fast. And then, later on, not so fast, there's like the bloating and other things. But like the actual look of your skin color and stuff, like it's pretty crazy. And that's actually why even when you're having an open casket funeral, a lot of families have this. Even when you're having it pretty close to the death, these bodies, when you want to show them like live at the funeral, you have to embalm them so hardcore and put makeup on them so hardcore, and also usually like sew their mouths and stuff, because the changes happen so fast.
Mm,
Like otherwise their mouths will look all droopy and weird, like because their muscles are so relaxed now.
mm.
And
That's interesting.
yeah,
It's kind of sad though
yeah,
because I feel like it's just interesting. You know how sometimes in maybe books or movies you get the concept of like a dog that will like stay by its human's corpse, or like someone who is so like intensely grieving that they just hug and like hold on to the body or something. I feel like something
yeah.
is lost just in that we have the body taken away so quickly, and then the next time we see it, it's like this embalmed monstrosity. If we do see it, um, I wish. I don't know. It's just like the concept of a dead body is so disgusting now, which is fair. I mean, I've seen it; it is pretty disgusting. Um, but like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, if something dies, don't you want to keep it around for a couple days to like grieve over
Well,
the
but I
body? I
mean,
don't know.
part of your own disgust is also that you're also part of this society, of this Western modern,
Yeah,
first
exactly,
world society. I
exactly.
mean, right?
Yeah,
Like you very much conditioned by all of this that we're all conditioned by. But
yeah.
like that mortician that I watched talks about how, like smells aside, corpses are very much embraced for like there's like countries around the world, especially a lot of Asian countries that will, and Latin American countries in like South America that will keep their dead for a while. One of the countries, like I can't remember what it was, will keep their dead. One of these cultures will keep their dead for a week in like their living room,
Mm.
not like adorned and shit, and some kind of like nice bed or something. But like
Mhm. Mhm.
basically, she's like like color change happens pretty fast and stuff. But like people, I think she says people think that the composition like color will happen fast, smell will not. So
Mhm.
you can
Mhm.
actually like be close to a corpse longer than you think.
Mhm.
It looks spooky. I mean, especially to us who live here, right? But
Mhm.
like to these cultures, they're like, they're a loved one and they're dead, and we want to say goodbye to them, so we're gonna keep them for a while. And we don't do that here.
Yeah,
Here it's
that seems
like,
kind of
no, death
sweet.
is gross,
Yeah,
and yeah,
that is
like,
kind
and
of
we have this
weird.
whole industry that is designed to like save us from ever having to interact with anything dead ever. Like
Mhm.
it's just they take
Mhm.
care of it completely, and you don't even have to think about it, and it's kind of
Yeah,
detached.
it really is. Well, maybe we should do an episode on like death cultural practices.
I'm gonna ask this girl to come on to. I wish. Oh my god, I wish.
That'd be
No,
really cool.
but yeah, dude, death positivity. Fuck
Hell
yeah, we should
yeah.
do an episode on that. I'm gonna write it
But we
down.
did just spend the last 15 minutes
Uh,
on it, so we started.
I know. This episode was like not what it was gonna be. But
But that was so cool. Yeah.
yeah. So those are some Mexican urban legends. We hope you enjoyed. Yeah, we hope you enjoyed this episode of sex talk, politics talk, scary talk. Fuck, what else
Death
did we talk about?
positivity talk.
There's positivity talk. Yeah, you're right. There's also something else that I'm missing. This episode was just a potpourri of shit.
Yeah.
So, hope you liked it. More like this one coming soon because as the pandemic kind of keeps encroaching into our everyday life, we lose our minds further and further. So every episode is going to be even more jumbled.
By the
So
100
look forward to
episode
that.
100 will just be us saying like a stream of incomprehensible things.
Yeah, and the title will be just J J J J J H K P P P P P T T burp. So and WAP. That'll be the episode title. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Remember that if you have any episode ideas, please do let us know by DMing us at Talk Scary or at Talk Scary on Instagram or Twitter or at Scary Talk on our Facebook page. And remember that you can listen to us on any and all podcast listening platforms. That includes Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, etc. And we are on Amazon Music now. A reminder for those of you that use that service. And also, I wanted to ask you, our listeners, if you're interested in having a listener like submitted episode of paranormal experiences. If you
Yes.
would like to submit your paranormal experience to us, you can just DM us at the same places at Talk Scary on Insta and Twitter and at Scary Talk on Facebook. And if we like your story, we'll feature it on the episode. So, yeah, Sunny.
Yeah. So paranormal experiences, I think that would be awesome. Thank you so much for listening.
Yep. So, Mothman, bedtime, large meals, WAP, the fly on Pence's head. I don't know, girl. Good night.
Good night.